Hi my loves, welcome to your Cosmic Weather Report for the week ahead. Now in the full spirit of Mercury retrograde, the moment I sat down to film this, they started doing drilling work outside the window. It's stopped now, but if it comes back, we're just going to need to roll with it because it's Mercury retrograde and this is just what we need to do during these next couple of weeks. But we've got a really profound week this week in many ways. It starts on Monday with the first quarter moon in Scorpio. And this energy is really the theme of the energy of the whole of the week. So the first quarter moon is that part of the lunar cycle where everything begins to come together. The synchronicities start to happen, the signs are everywhere, the guiding light of the moon is showing us where to go. There's a sense of all of those intentions we set ourselves at that Leo new moon are starting to kind of take shape and take form, and things are happening and guiding us towards what it is that we want. This is a part of the lunar cycle where we really need to show up, be seen, shine, put ourselves out there fully. But the first quarter moon can also bring up those little doubts, the little fears, the little voice that when you're about to go out there and be seen and shine and do something brave kind of taps you on the shoulder and whispers about what might go wrong or what might not work out or why you maybe couldn't make it happen. And especially with this first quarter moon being in Scorpio, Scorpio is about that deep dive into our shadows and our fears and what holds us back. That in doing so, allows us then to really begin to trust in our magic and our power and our intuition. So this week, this is going to be the kind of the theme of the energy of this week, is that theme of looking at those shadows, looking at what holds us back, looking at what keeps us stuck and small, and bringing those shadows to the light so that we're then able to shine more fully and to follow our deep intuitive knowing and to really trust in our power and our magic and stand in the presence of who we are. So I want you to pay real attention at the start of the week to what those little doubts and fears are maybe that are surfacing, why it is that you hold yourself back. Maybe look at your new moon intentions and look at where you haven't done what you said you were going to do, or what stopped you doing certain things, or what feels like it's got in the way, or where you've procrastinated or made an excuse, or whatever it may be. It's just a really beautiful time on Monday to have that little check-in of looking back to that Leo moon and having that really honest look within of, am I really doing all that I can to go after what it is that I say that I want? And this is a week to get really honest about those little voices within. We often want to kind of not listen, especially if it's a voice that tells us that something needs to change or something needs to happen or something needs to shift. We can tend to want to ignore it. And I know I mentioned this last week around Mercury retrograde, that we can often make ourselves busy when we know we've got things to change in our lives, and then we can be too busy to do what it is that we know that we need to do. So I want to invite you, particularly at the beginning of the week, to just really take that honest look within. And that honest look at yourself. And if things aren't working in your life, rather than looking outside of you for something to blame, oh, well, it's because of that I've not been able to do it. It was because they said that. It was because they're not doing that. It was because this hasn't happened. Look within. Look at you. Look at where you are perhaps in the way. And in doing so, that helps you then to take that full responsibility for making the necessary changes and doing what it is that you know that you need to do, because the energy of this week is then going to start to push us forwards, beginning on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we get Mars conjunct Jupiter. So as Mars and Jupiter meet, there is going to be this sense that anything is possible. You will begin to see possibilities, to see the way forward, to see what needs to happen, to really want to go for it. There's going to be this very deep desire to expand into all of yourself, this very deep desire to, I want to shine, I want to show up, I want to be seen, I want to get things started, I want to be the best I can be, I want to go out there into the world and like show the world I'm here and make things happen and do what only I can do in the world. I'm ready for it. There will be this big, almost inner fire of wanting to expand and grow, be seen, be shine, really working those first quarter moon energies to be like, right, I'm here, I'm really, really, really ready. And with this sense that, well, anything is possible. So you'll have maybe looked at those little doubts and little fears at the beginning of the week, and then as Wednesday comes, we're going to be able to flip them. So whereas you've maybe been looking at closed doors or looking at dead ends, there's going to be this little signal of like, yeah, but look over here, and you're going to be like, oh, how did I not see this? How did I not know this? How was I not aware of this? How, oh my goodness, okay, things are possible. And you're going to be able to see solutions where there have been problems and answers where there have been questions. So there's going to be this really big energy that comes in to get things going. The only thing I do want to say about this day is there is sometimes an energy when Mars and Jupiter meet around so much to do in so little time, so much to do, so much to do, so much to do. And that can sometimes either have us starting lots and lots of things and never actually doing anything, or it can have us a bit like deer in headlights, where we're like, there's too much to do, and there's so much to do. I don't know what it is I'm going to do. Like, oh my goodness, it's just too much. So pay attention to things like that coming in and happening as well. There could be a really big sense of, I don't want to give you the word overwhelm, but a sense of really deep, an excited energy, or too much energy, but with that, like running around in circle energy. That's more what I want to give you away. I'll stop running around in circles being like, I don't know what to do with things. Like that kind of energy. So just pay attention to that and be mindful of that, and maybe take some quiet time to really let all those ideas come in and to settle. Now, Thursday, we get a day of profound healing and growth on Thursday. A really beautiful day for very, very deep healing that in turn will help you to be able to heal some of those wounds and shadows you looked at the beginning of the week, and to move forwards in a very different way. So we've got the Sun trine Chiron, and on the same day, Mercury retrograde moves back into Leo. Now, Leo rules the heart. So what we want to do around this day, so the Sun trine Chiron, Sun, how we're here to shine. So remember, we're talking a lot about how we're here to shine this week with that first quarter moon energy. Chiron, the wounded healer, shows us our deep emotional wounds. And the wounds that we come into this lifetime with to learn from, to overcome, it's where we really find purpose in our pain. It's where we really use what it is that we've been through to make us, to forge us into a more powerful version of ourselves that steps into more of our purpose. Now, as Mercury moves backwards and helps us to retrace our steps moving into Leo, which governs the heart, we're going to be able to really see what keeps your heart closed. What pain have you been through that's caused you to shut yourself off and shrink yourself down and close yourself, or to believe that certain things aren't possible for you, or certain things wouldn't happen for you? This is a day where I really invite you to look back over all of the really challenging and difficult times in your life and take the lessons from them. Use them to grow. Use them to become more of yourself. Look at where you are still telling the same old stories, that because that happened to you 10 years ago, you then tell yourself the story that all men are the same, or all women are the same, or this always happens to me, or whatever that ongoing story might be, especially around places where you keep yourself closed off. So you tell yourself that story so that you can keep yourself shut down and, in inverted commas, protected, instead of allowing yourself to open up and truly begin to live. So this is going to be a day where I really want you to look at those old stories, those old wounds, those old hurts, those old pains, and start to integrate them. Start to really take the lessons from them and integrate them, and let the past go. And know that you've learned what you needed to learn here in the present, and you're going to use this information now to do things differently. This is also a really powerful time to find your voice. So if you've not been speaking your truth, if you've not been saying certain things, if you've been the people pleaser, if you've been nodding and agreeing to things you don't agree with, if you've been staying quiet about certain things in your life, this is a time now to speak up and speak from your heart, to really go into your heart where those woundings are, those resentments are, those hurts, those pains. And especially remember, every time then that we don't speak up for ourselves and set a boundary, we wound that little bit more. So this is the time where I really want you to speak from your heart, to say what's on your heart, to speak your truth, and to start to find your voice. And this will come from looking at the past and gaining and gathering that wisdom, so then you can speak that truth and do things differently. Now, Friday, we get a day that's going to help with this. We now get Mars square Saturn. So remember earlier in the week we had Mars and Jupiter, which is all about expansion. Mars meeting Saturn might give us like a moment where we feel like we're pausing. And this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful moment that instead of just running out there, now that we've been deep into our heart, deep into our wounding, deep into what needs healing, now we need to get a pause. Saturn is the teacher of the zodiac. So Saturn is going to say, have you learned the lessons? What are you not going to repeat? What are you no longer going to put up with in your life? This is going to give us this beautiful pause to go, hey, did you just bypass yesterday because you didn't want to look at those things in your life that perhaps feel a little bit sticky and painful? Can we now look at this? Can we really learn from this? Have you learned? And this gives us a beautiful pause to put some real plans into place, to figure out how we're going to move forwards from this new knowing rather than just kind of gung-ho and rushing around. Remember I said that Mars and Jupiter energy might have you spinning in circles. As Mars meets Saturn, Saturn's going to say, pause, stop. What do you actually really want? Knowing what you now know, having looked at your shadows, having looked at your past, having looked at some of your woundings, having looked at your stories, having healed, having come into your heart, having spoken your truth, now you're ready to shine. What is it you actually want now? Not taking any of those stories from the past with you. What is it you actually want? So take this pause at the end of the week then to go, what is it I actually want? What is it I really, really want? Because then on Sunday, Mercury retrograde, sorry, I'm eating my hair here, honestly, it's Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is going to square Uranus. Now, this is going to be an energy of big change. This is going to bring in big change. And so what I want to say to you here is everything you've learned through the week, this is the day where you start to make those changes. This is the day where this energy is going to say to you, stop saying that you want to change something and start doing it. And if you don't make the changes from the lessons that you've learned from this retrograde so far, what Uranus is going to ask you to do is start to learn the lessons from Mercury retrograde so far and free yourself from the past. Free yourself from your stories. Free yourself of your fears and your doubts and your limitations and your shadows that you've been made aware of through the week. Uranus is like, now you get to free yourself by making those changes that you know that you need to make based on what you now know. And if you don't make those changes, Mercury retrograde and Uranus are likely to do it for you. And that's when those changes feel more like a shock, a surprise, something we're not ready for. And then we kind of go, oh God. Make the changes yourself. Begin to make, it only needs to be small. This doesn't need to be a massive, big life overhaul where you change everything. But looking at what you've learned through the week, looking at your shadows, looking at what gets in the way, looking at how you make yourself small, looking at where you keep your heart closed, looking at where you don't speak your truth and don't let yourself shine, looking at the lessons and learning the lessons, what needs to change. That's going to be the energy of Sunday. You've had a big week of profound learning and healing and growth. What needs to change? And I really encourage you to change something, to make a commitment for the following week to go, right, I'm going to change this and I'm going to commit to it. And that will have a ripple effect in your life like nothing else. It really will. So I wish you a beautiful week, my loves. I really do. Thank you as always for being part of this community. I love knowing that we navigate these energies together through the week. So thank you for being a part of it. I'm sending you so much love and I'll be back soon.